And all of Florida took a hit this week, though. DeSantis wants to take $1 million and sue the college football playoff or the NCAA because Florida State wasn't part of the Final Four. Instead, it's Michigan, Alabama, Texas, and Washington. And that team was undefeated. And they had out-of-conference wins against LSU and Florida, 2 SEC schools. And they won the ACC. And they were undefeated, right? So all of those things say that this team has accomplished enough and earned enough to be in the Final Four. Like, you think they got jobbed, or did the Final Four say, we're going to pick the best games with the best teams?
And that's what they did. It's a knock against the ACC, to be honest. ACC is garbage. Clemson used to run it. Clemson ain't no good. North Carolina State, Georgia Tech. Name me a good ACC team. And Florida State played all them. LSU wasn't good this year. Florida wasn't good this year.
And you got to remember, too, LSU, they played them in the first game before Jaden Daniels started Jaden Daniels in, too.
And so if you look at it, it's somewhere in the 50s. They do the strength of schedule. Florida State was somewhere in the 50s because their conference isn't good. So it's really a knock against the ACC not having top-notch football. So all of ACC should evaluate itself. But when it was BCS, you remember people saying, a computer shouldn't choose this. A computer shouldn't choose this. So now it's a committee of old football-watching motherfuckers, and they're choosing the best game. Let's be honest, fellas. The best games that are going to make the most money and have the highest viewership. Florida State without what's his name? Rudolph. Jordan Rudolph. Jordan Travis, sorry.
Yep.
Florida State without Jordan Travis is not a team that should be playing for the national championship. They're talented, yes, but they're playing in a terrible conference, and it has no respect, and we saw the committee doesn't respect them. I have no problem with the decision because I know what the committee's trying to do. I'm not trying to make what's right, what's wrong. Tell me what the guidelines are for making the Final Four. If you can't tell me the guidelines.
So the thing was, in the bylaws or in the guidelines, everything that Florida State did as a team were the things that were supposed to put you in. Schedule difficult non-conference game. Win your conference. Be undefeated. Like, all of those things, especially historically, has gotten teams into the Final Four. But the other piece of it is they've always shown us they do what the hell they want, right? They've always shown us that they pick the teams they want to pick. And so, like, being upset about it is what it is. It don't matter because they don't answer to nobody.
They're sending a very bad signal overall, right? You tell teams you got to come out there and you got to play, you win, you earn the right. You know, strength of schedule, all this stuff, RC just said it. They did everything. They checked off all the boxes. The one thing against them was if you don't have key players in position when the committee votes on it. But what about the whole defense win championships? You very much know how that goes. The Ravens know how that goes. 85 Bears with Jim McMahon, they know how that goes. Defense does win championship. It's not just cliche. Even if that quarterback isn't there, that doesn't mean these guys can't go out there and be competitive. You know, no, it's not pretty. They didn't score a lot of points these closing weeks to close out the season, but they're 13-0. And for me, I think they earn the right to have one of those 4 slots. Over who? I can't really say, but I think they did earn it. But I think this committee, they're trying to sell the games by pairing the best teams and not the teams that naturally earned it. Because it's TV deals get involved, sponsorship gets involved. It's all of that stuff. You can move. They move the goalposts every single time. The BCS was bull crap and shit, shenanigans. It was all garbage.
So
it was always garbage.
You want a computer or do you want people? You want a people or computer? Them the two options. You can't have what they do when they let a turtle walk up and eat the lettuce of the teams. They're like, for who do you want to decide? Do you want to be numbers or do you want to be human?
And so, but you got to look at this. This is also the same exact thing that happens with the NCAA tournament. Like, let's take Kentucky, right? Let's go back to when John Wall played for Kentucky, and say they were a number 1 seed or expected to be a number 1 seed the entire year. They had been number 1 the entire season. If John Wall gets hurt in the SEC championship, in the SEC tournament, they wouldn't be a number 1 seed. right? Because the way that the NCAA selection committee worked, because it was people, they would look at those teams and they would say, without John Wall, they're a 3 seed or a 2 seed or a 4 seed, even though they had earned the right to be a 1 seed based on their resume. Like, that's the way people work. Here is my thoughts on it. I believe Florida State got effed. Like, I do. I believe that when you look at the nature in which the game is played and the way that people are rewarded for success, if you give me a level or a certain criteria that, if adhered to, should earn me a certain thing, then you should get that, right? You should, if you play the non-conference games, if you go 13-0, if you win the ACC championship, I feel like you have earned the right to lose. I may believe that you're going to lose, but based on your resume, all you've shown me is you haven't. Right? So that's my thought, that they should have gotten the opportunity to be in there. Now, the other piece of it is, too, the other side of the argument, I also understand. And I know on the other side of the argument is money. You want to tell me where decisions are made, you tell me where the money goes. From a money standpoint, one, you bring in the fan bases. Not that Florida State doesn't have a great fan base. There ain't no fan base like Texas.
Telling you.
There's very few fan bases like Alabama. Right? That are going to travel, that are going to be a part of those games. And then it's the intrigue and the level of play in the game. Nobody wants to see Louisville 3-3 with Florida State late in the third quarter in the ACC championship.
Yeah.
It was as hard to watch as watching Iowa play football. And even with that, here is why I thought they'd pick them. It was the easiest thing to explain. Really, what the committee did was put heat on themselves, because if they picked Florida State, you know what they could have said? They did this, they did this, they did this, they did this. They made the hard decision. They made the decision they was going to have to defend. And did they break a lot of hearts in Tallahassee? And were those people sad? Yes. I can tell you this, and I don't know if y'all saw it. Here's how I know they ended up putting in the best 4. There was cameras at each place. The Michigans, the Bamas, the Texas, all that. When they announced Alabama, Michigan dang near pooped a brick.
They know.
Michigan stood up because Michigan even thought they're going to put Florida State 4. And when they said Alabama, you seen people in Michigan, like parts of the staff, like stand up, grab their head, look down. Why? Because they thought, if you give me Florida State without that quarterback, we got an easy win. We'll see you in the championship.
I got an example.